my dear friends, and welcome back to another Star Wars news update. In today's video we have some massive details from Deadline. Think back to a few weeks ago, there were some major reports of Rogue Squadron being delayed indefinitely as the movie was put on hold. This got a lot of fans, myself included, assuming that based on Lucasfilm's track record, that the project was more or less cancelled for good. And then Star Wars Newsnet and a couple of other outlets reported that Rogue Squadron would be replaced by a movie set in the Old Republic. And then there was some debate about whether or not this was true. Now, while it is still very much the case that Rogue Squadron is delayed, it is definitely not cancelled. In a breaking news story from Deadline, Patty Jenkins reveals that she has dropped Cleopatra so that she can now focus on Rogue Squadron and Wonder Woman 3. So the movie is definitely still on the table, and in this case, delayed does not mean cancelled. She'll work on Wonder Woman 3 and then she's going to go all in on Star Wars Rogue Squadron. Needless to say, this all comes as a massive surprise. We all thought that based on how the plans for Rian Johnson's trilogy turned out, it would be a similar situation for Patty Jenkins. But for once, the opposite is true. She is cancelling other directorial work to shift her attention and focus to Star Wars. In this instance, we can still expect the project to move forward, but we have no word on when it's going to be released. It was originally set to come out in December of 2023, the same year as the Ahsoka series and the Acolyte, but in light of the delay, we can only assume it's going to be pushed back at least 1 year. Now, the last time I spoke about Rogue Squadron, the general consensus seemed to be that most fans are not too excited about it, especially when compared to other Star Wars projects like the much anticipated series, the Book of Boba Fett, the Mandalorian Season 3, Kenobi, and so on. Now, the last time we spoke about this, there were reports of issues with the script itself and also some creative differences, notably with those higher up, and some people were speculating that it was a clash with Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy herself. Deadline does not address this in any of this article, and there is nothing substantial or official to back up those claims. But what I suspect happened is that there were issues, and that's part of the reason for the delay in the first place. But these issues were not nearly severe enough to scrap the project, only to delay it by a year or two. We don't yet know if there's going to be another cinematic release to replace that December 2023 spot, but there have been some rumblings about a possible movie set during the High Republic. But as I say, Lucasfilm have not made any official statement about the subject. Now, when it comes to Rogue Squadron itself, nothing is known about the plot or even what time period it was meant to be set in. Patty Jenkins once teased that it's going to be set in a new, unexplored period of the timeline, but this is very ambiguous. It could be set in between two of the Skywalker saga films. For instance, between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, or Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. Some kind of original trilogy connection is almost inevitable, specifically through Wedge Antilles, a character heavily rumoured to appear in the series. And we have to bear in mind that Jenkins did state that the outline she has for the movie is influenced by the X-Wing novel by the same name, and of course, the X-Wing 1993 video game that came out 3 years prior to the book. And I must say, my dear friends, if you've not played this game, you missed out. But as I mentioned earlier, the wide array of Disney Plus shows is really where it's at. I mean, we literally have Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, Lando, and Boba Fett all getting their own series. Not to mention The Mandalorian continuing into its 3rd season and beyond. So it's no mystery as to why Star Wars fans are way more hyped about those than they ever were for Rogue Squadron. But having said that, I will be fair, I'm still very curious to see how Jenkins handles a Star Wars film, and as I say, I'll give anything a chance. But we still have to acknowledge that her directing Wonder Woman 1984 got a lot of fans worried when she was announced to direct a Star Wars movie. And while with anything to do with Star Wars under Disney, there will be other writers and plenty of collaboration. But time will tell if that's a positive or a negative. The lowdown, or the fact of the matter is, there is so much uncertainty surrounding Rogue Squadron at this very early stage, and I even doubt that Lucasfilm know how things are going to pan out. I guess the good news is that Patty Jenkins is going to go all in on the movie once she's finished Wonder Woman 3. This, as well as the delay, will hopefully provide for a less rushed environment and with a bit of luck, the outcome might be a tremendous Star Wars movie. Fingers crossed, we just have to wait and see. But cautious optimism is always the way to go. Now, speaking of organisation at Lucasfilm, we're getting very close to the Book of Boba Fett, which drops in 22 days' time. That's just over 3 weeks, and given the silent treatment on Disney Plus Day and thereafter, you would expect that we would be getting a full 2022 Star Wars schedule very soon. We are now nearing the end of the year, and we still have no idea which order the shows are going to drop in. I would suspect that given the Book of Boba Fett is 7 episodes long, that the Bad Batch Season 2 is going to follow right after, which leads up to a hopeful open door for a May the 4th release date of the Kenobi series. Then of course the Andor series, and finally the Mandalorian Season 3 in October. That is the most likely order, but as I say, there is no such confirmation just yet. Another reason I expect the Bad Batch Season 2 right after the Book of Boba Fett is because of logical character connections. Yes, the Bad Batch takes place over 20 years before the events of the Book of Boba Fett, but Boba and Fennec Shand and maybe others could also feature in both series. It would be a nice way to connect the two shows by having that kind of release schedule. In other words, we'll see Boba Fett and Fennec Shand in the Book of Boba Fett and then the Bad Batch Season 2, as well as including the obvious Fennec Shand as we saw in the first season. They could also give some backstory to how she met Boba. And so the Bad Batch Season 2 could be some sort of prelude that also includes some connections to the Book of Boba Fett. I'm not going to speak about Omega or other members of the Bad Batch, because while we can expect them to come into live action at some point, we don't know if the Book of Boba Fett is going to provide that promise. It's always a possibility, but I've always thought that Omega coming into the Book of Boba Fett is far too soon. They probably want to explore her character more in animation before making her way into live action, probably in the Ahsoka series, or if the Book of Boba Fett has more than one season, then definitely the Book of Boba Fett Season 2. But once the Book of Boba Fett ends, all of our eyes are undoubtedly going to be on the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. That is the one series that's going to break the internet next year, and even though I'm really excited about Andor, and of course continuing the Mandalorian story, 2022 is no doubt going to be overshadowed by the return of Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen in Obi-Wan Kenobi. We are in for an absolute delight. We're almost there, guys, just 22 days until the Book of Boba Fett, and then the countdown to all of the other exciting material next year really begins. And that leads us to 2023, where we'll see the Ahsoka series, the Acolyte, and at some stage maybe we'll get an official word on this project, Rogue Squadron. So let me know your thoughts of everything we spoke about in today's video in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this one, you know what to do. Give me a big fat thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and if you're feeling generous and you want more videos that are not found on YouTube, then why not become a patron? The link is down there in the description. But otherwise, my dear friends, I'll see you in the next one. I'm Star Wars Meg, and I'm wishing you an amazing day, no matter where you are in the galaxy. May the Force be with you. Have a good one.